Hi, so today we're going to cover 5 ways to get through the 2022-23 recession, how to have more cash and better cash flow. So there's a recession on the way, and there's no hiding from it. And there's going to be three types of people that's going to encounter this recession. The first people are they've got lots of money, they've got great cash flow, and they're not worried about the high energy bills, cost of living, inflation, or the recession. The second type of people acknowledge a recession is on its way and are formulating a plan. The third type of people are panicking about money and hiding their head in the ground and hoping that it all blows over. And to be honest, the third type of person is always worried about money, recession or no recession. Now, I like to think of myself as an optimist, and I wish I was part of the first group. But the truth is, I'm a realist. I'm part of the group that looks at the situation, looks at how I can monitor and manage my finances, how I can project my cash flow, and I'll create a plan. And I recommend that everyone creates a plan for the next 3 years. I'm sorry to be negative, but it's better to plan than to be sorry. And this video is to help you create a plan. So firstly, who am I? My name's Tessin Khan. I've been a tax consultant since 2008. I'm a tax author. I've had 3 books published through an international publisher. I have owned a niche tax consultancy for more than 5 years. So I like to think that I have the authority to speak to about this. Who's this training for? So it's for business owners that want to survive the upcoming recession, but also those business owners that want to come out of the recession in a great position to attack um, a growing market. So what's the problem? Well, a lot of people, business owners, think that my business is profitable, so I can pay my bills. Now, accountancy has lots of words and they all sound the same, but the meanings are very different. So one of these words is profit. And profit is actually how much money you have left over once you've paid expenses over a specific period. And look at the formula of profit. Sales minus costs equals profit. But what's made up of sales? It's actually invoices raised and not paid. So what does that mean? So let's say if I have um, done some work for a client, I've raised an invoice, but they not paid it yet, then that figure is still included in my profit and loss as sales. Similarly, if one of my um, if I've been given a bill and I've not paid that bill, that will be still shown as a cost in my accounts. So what that means is the profit is not a live reflection of my ability to pay for things. And this is why when you as a business owner need to pay for something, you look at your bank balance, you don't look at your accounting, you don't look at your P&L. Your bank balance is actually the truth. You can see how much money you have. And this is evident of why you need to monitor your cash flow. Now, cash flow is the money that comes to your business and leaves your business. And as a business owner, you need to know whether you've got enough money in your business next week to pay your employees, your suppliers, your rents, your rates, your crazy high energy bills, and your taxes. But imagine that if you knew how much cash you would have in 6 months or 12 months, or even better, 18 months, then you'd have a great business. Why is that important? Well, it's important for 3 reasons to be able to monitor your cash flow. Firstly, you can make projections. So because you know how much money you'll have in your bank account in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 18 months, you can make better decisions and you can benchmark against realistic um, business objectives. Also, you can um, identify problems early. So let's say, for example, you have a loan to repay in 3 months' time, and you look at your cash flow and you can see that you don't have enough income to be able to pay that loan in that third month. So that gives you more time to go to your lender and say, I can't pay this within in 3 months. Can I have an extension? Obviously, the earlier you ask this to the lender, the more chance you get for an extension or flexibility to pay. And the third reason why cash flow is important is it helps you grow effectively. So you can monitor your capital efficiency. Now, capital efficiency is how much money you invest in something and how much revenue that thing brings you. So you could invest in technology, and that could save you staff time, or it could help you generate sales. That's an example for technology. Inventory is another example of capital efficiency. So if I buy stock, how long does that stock take to make me a profit? And the third example is, let's say you want to experiment a new marketing campaign. Then for each pound you invest in, let's say, a Facebook ad, how much money do you get back? And when do you get it back? And all these things help you make better decisions. So they're the three examples of the importance of cash flow that I have. There's many more reasons, to be honest. Now let's get on to the 5 ways to have better cash and cash flow. And the first one is increasing your prices. Did you know that it's 6 to 7 times more expensive to gain a new customer than it is to keep a current one? And that's like just that itself is a great reason to increase your price. Why would you increase your prices? Well, you could be going under it could be, sorry, the country could be going through high inflation. Is That's something that we're experiencing now. There could be something that's gonna be anticipatory. So let's say you expect the government to cap costs or control prices of things in the future. That could that's a good reason to increase your prices. I'll be honest, that's not going to affect many of you. You could have an over demand of your products or services, so you're oversubscribed. That's another reason to increase prices. Your product or software or service might start providing more value. And the fifth reason to increase your price is that you're currently undercharging. Now that we've covered the 5 reasons why you would increase your price, let's just look into the undercharging aspect, because how do you know you're undercharging? I've got a few reasons here. So, firstly, if your prospects are not negotiating on price, then that's a good signal that your price is undercharged. You always want there to be a tiny sting when you got someone buying. It keeps them invested in your product. Another signal is your customers tell you your prices are low. So they might not directly tell you over the phone, because that'll affect their negotiating power, but you might see it in forums or somewhere across the internet, or in surveys, or in certain Facebook groups. So always monitor these groups and forums, and see if they are mentioning your product and they are talking about prices. If your product offers high ROI, return on investment, and it gives a huge value to your customers, your price should reflect that benefit. And if it doesn't, then it's time to increase the price. I understand that's a bit more subjective than the previous reasons that I've mentioned. If your price has stayed the same for many years, that's a good reason to increase your price. Many companies, large SaaS companies, raise their prices every 5 to 7 years, and that's included in the contract. So if you don't raise your prices, that leave you further behind your competitors. And if you're adding new features to your product, or you're adding more services to your existing services, then that's another reason to increase your price. And it's a good time to increase your prices when you introduce this new feature or additional service, because that's where the customers will see the value in the price increase. And I want to go through a few examples here of real world scenarios where a price has been increased, just so you understand that everyone is doing it and you don't feel as though, oh, I can't increase the price because nobody else is. Well, let's look at these. So McDonald's recently increased their price of their cheeseburger, and it's their first price increase in 14 years. Um, their burgers gone from 99 pence to £1.19. Costa, their flat whites have gone from £2.95 to £3.30, and that's after all their drinks were increased by 14 pence. So these two companies were comfortable increasing their price. You're probably thinking, well, these two companies are massive, they're huge conglomerates, and they do not reflect how a smaller business should be running their organization. But I want to give you another example here of a small accountancy firm that we partner with. Now, this firm needed to grow so the owner could put a bigger team in place, um, and they wanted to increase their price. But there's a few things that are holding them back. Mainly, it's to do with fear. They were overwhelmed by the huge task, didn't know where to start, how much to increase the price by, how to tell clients to increase the price, how to organize payments. They were scared of losing clients, and they're kind of daunted by the whole task, something called paralysis by analysis. Now, increasing your price is something that you have to implement step by step, but the first barrier that you have to overcome is a fixed mindset. This is mainly for people who have not increased their prices before, because I look at everybody else and think, oh, they're not increasing their price, so we can't increase ours. But I'm going to give you the results of this accounting practice, like what they achieved by increasing the price. So yes, there was two clients that moaned about the price increase, and of the two, one left. But what did this mean overall for the practice? Well, they had 10% more bottom line, which enabled them to hire the employee part qualified accountant. So a part qualified accountant between where they're based 28 to 30K. So that's how much more money they saved, which enabled them to hire this additional person. So a price increase could have a dramatic effect on your business. You got to remember, by hiring this additional employee, there's less burden on the other team. Sorry, the remaining employees. So the work is more spread out, so the employees are more happier, which effectively would make them more productive. Now, a price increase for a SaaS business, I recommend that you do this during the busiest period. Um, if you do it during a time where users aren't using your product regularly, then they might not feel the sting as much, but and appreciate the product. But if you're increasing the price during the busiest period, then because they're using the product during that time more frequently, they will appreciate the value in the product. So they'll be more inclined to accept the price increase. And the best time to increase the price for a SaaS product, I would say, is when you include new features. So you could create a new pricing tier, or if a client gets more value. So let's say, for example, you've got a CRM business and a company has a price point for 5 users and another price point for 10 users. Well, there's obviously it's quite difference in the value to an organization that's got 5 people using your product to 10 people. So you could charge them based on number of users. The tips I give when you're increasing the price is don't know your existing customers, reward their loyalty. Um, and I will tell you how you can do this. So there's something called grandfathering. Um, this is a strategy used by technology companies, or actually by all companies to um, reward their current clients. So let's say if a company increases their prices, out of loyalty, this company will only increase the prices for new customers and not increase the price for existing companies, it's existing customers. Now, that will kind of go against the reason of increasing the price for the purpose of what I'm talking about today. So I don't recommend that. What I would recommend is something where existing users can can add more seats for the next 10 days at the original price. So that increases your cash flow, and any new seats or users on that for that organization will go onto a new price plan. So it's a mixture of grandfathering and a normal pricing strategy. Now, the most important thing of increasing your pricing is the execution. A price increase is necessary to grow your business. It's great for you and it's great for your customers, and it's also great for your team. It enables you to further improve your products and services so you provide something better for your clients. So when does a price increase actually cause an issue? Well, it's to do with bad execution. With great execution, you can almost achieve everything, anything. So, for example, let's look at the political campaigns by Donald Trump to become president, for the Brexit campaign. These things, we never thought Trump will become president, but it happened. Similar to Brexit, we never thought Leicester City would win the Premiership, but with great execution, they did. Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, no one thought it could happen, but it did because of what happened before the fight, the preparation, the mental fortitude that Buster Douglas showed. Netflix also had a battle with Blockbuster Videos, and no one thought that they would win, but the execution is what enabled them to win. I've got Star Wars here as well, and Star Wars wasn't expected to do really, really well. That's why they gave Harrison Ford lifetime royalties, but we know what happened with Star Wars and how big it got. So how do you justify to your clients that you're increasing the price? So I recommend that the CEO or the business owner contact them directly. You let the customer know in advance, minimum 3 months. I recommend 6 months in advance of the price increase. You remind them that the higher prices means better quality of product or service, and you need to be transparent with them. You need to explain the reasoning behind the price increase. That'll help you further develop your relationship with your clients, and your whole organization needs to be aware of the price increase before announcing it to the customers, because you want your team to be ready for any questions that come back to them. And you also need to let customers know that they can reach out to your team members to ask questions. Now, here's an example of I think they're a SaaS company, AppQs, who increase their prices. Just got this off the internet. There's the source. You can see they've got tiered pricing, but just that one price increase helped AppQs increase their revenue by 263%. And that's massive. Imagine what they could do with that much revenue, how they can reinvest in the company, hire more team members, invest in marketing. It can be a potential game changer. So the first one we've finished now. The second way to um, have more cash and improve cash flow is keeping your best players. Now, there's something called convergent thinking and divergent thinking, and you've got to approach this in a more divergent thinking approach, because firstly, payroll is tightly knit with cash flow, because staff costs usually puts the most pressure on finances, and that pressures even more when there's unpredictable business conditions. So you'd think, oh, okay, so we got less cash, so we have to get rid of people. But if you don't keep your best people, then how on earth are you going to survive? You're just going to hide in the shadows for a year or two until this thing blows over? Or do you want to still be in a position of power with your best players, not only during the recession, but once the recession finishes? You want to come out all guns blazing. You want to attack the market when it's growing, and you need the best team to do that. So before letting your staff go, and especially the A players, there's different ways you can retain staff. So the first thing is renegotiate salary and benefits. This includes reducing their company pension contributions. And let's say if you do that, then you can potentially do these three things as well. These can be done separately or can they can be done combined. You can offer them shares in your company. They can be, you can give them different types of shares. It doesn't have to be the ordinary shares. It could be some of the shares and maybe income or dividends on that are based on performance. You could give them higher commissions, and that could be just before the period of the recession, or could be long term. It's up to you how you want to structure that. You could give the company performance related bonuses. So let's say, for example, um, my goal this year is to turn over 1 million, and the company turns over 1.2 million. Well, because that 200,000 is in excess of what my target was, maybe you can spread that 200,000 across your team as a bonus. That would be really, really motivational for your team to perform well. And that, in combination with that, uh, would be amazing for your high performers. If you have to get rid of your team members, remember that you could potentially pay them 30K, up to 30K tax-free via termination payment. And if you want more details about that, just send me a message. You can find me on LinkedIn, or I'll give my email at the end as well. So that's keeping your best players. The third way to have more cash and improve cash flow is looking at good costs versus bad costs. Now, what is good cost? Well, a good cost is something that stimulates growth and creates a competitive advantage for your business, whereas bad costs slows growth and takes out money from your pocket. So as an example, let's say you have two marketing strategies. You have an email marketing campaign and you have a Facebook ads campaign. The email marketing campaign costs you £500 a month, but generates you £1,200 a month. The Facebook ads campaign costs you £2,000 a month, and you generate £3,500 a month. Excuse me. So looking at that, which one's better? If you break it down, the email marketing campaign, for every pound you spend, you get £2.40 in return. Whereas the Facebook ads, for every pound you spend, you get £1.75 in return. So clearly the email marketing campaign is better because you get a greater return. Let's say if you then took this 2,000 and put it with this 500, and you pumped that total 2.5 grand into your email marketing campaign, your return will be about £6,000, which is £1,300 more than that currently is there. So that's an example of identifying a bad cost and reinvesting it into a good cost. And this philosophy should actually be applied across your business. You can track costs of employees, your CRMs, even your clients. You can look at each of your client. You can see how profitable each client is. And if one of your clients draining lots of resources and is not that profitable, well, you can eliminate them. I mean, don't kill them. You can tell them no longer to be a client. And you can do something similar with your stock. Let's say if you're selling products, you can check the profitability on each product. And if something's low profit, then why are you stocking that? Instead, take the money out and reinvest it into something that's giving you a high profit. Eliminate things that have low benefits and use the savings on those to increase budgets on things that work. I recommend keeping 20% to play with to test on new things. So let's say, for example, I took that out, then I'd maybe two and a half, £500 I'd put into TikTok ads or something just to test out if that works, or if there's a potential capacity to get a better ROI on that. Right. The fourth way to have more cash and increase cash flow is to follow best practices. So the first thing I recommend is to have an emergency fund. So a minimum of 3 months to 6 months of money in your business account to fund your basic operations if no money comes in. I personally like to have 3 months. But I've already started, to be honest. We've got 6 months. We're near enough at 6 months now of cash in the account if nothing comes through the door. Your goal is also to get paid as early as possible. So that could be involving invoicing quickly. I know a lot of people that don't issue invoices quick enough. The quicker your invoice goes out, generally the quicker it gets paid. You can also have different strategies of invoicing, so you can get paid upfront. You could get paid in installments. Maybe there's a larger payment up front, then a small payment in the middle, and a smaller payment at the end. Um, or you can get paid based on profit share. Whatever it is, try to get paid as early as possible. It'll be difficult on profit share, but the good thing about that is because you're taking a risk, you get a higher return. Another way to help you get paid early is to ensure all your invoices are automated, sent out as early as possible, and if they're not paid, an automated reminder is sent to your client to say, hey, pay me. Another use of best practice is to use technology. We're in the age of QuickBooks, Xero, Sage. There's other softwares where you save time and energy creating your financials and seeing real-time data in your financial records. And with this real-time data and it's automated, you save energy so you can earn more money. And with the real-time data, you can make better informed decisions. If you don't implement technology to get real-time data, well, then you got an issue because you don't know how much money you'll have in your account in 3 months' time, in 5 months' time. So how can you plan for the future when you don't know how much money is in your account? The first thing you got to ensure that your system is in place to enable you to see how much money you got in your account in those periods, that 3 months, that 6 months, that 9 months, 18 months. So you've got this data now, but you need to be able to interpret the data to make better decisions. And your accountant should help you run this smoothly and to make the right decisions. And your accountant should be an educator and a trusted advisor to help you make these decisions. So if your accountant is just getting paid just to do your accounts and you don't see any real-time data, you don't have access to it, they don't talk you through, oh, there's an issue here with your stock, or you don't send out invoices quick enough, or your invoices don't get paid quick enough, and just simple things like that, then your accountant should be sacked. That's my honest opinion, and it might not be liked. So once you've got tech, data, you can make informed decisions, then you can start also monitoring your cash flow. And you should always have quick access to check key metrics. So the first metric that you'd always want to check is your bank balance. Have you got enough cash for expenses, salaries, and also the profit you're taking home? Do you have enough money for that? Because obviously that's really important. And to monitor how much money you got in your bank account and how much money you'll have in your bank account in 3 months, 6 months, is you need something to monitor your sales. So do you have predictable sales? When do you get paid? How much do you get paid? How often do you get paid? All these things matter, and you can set up your tech stack to enable you to see this. So I recommend putting that in place. What's also important is, actually I've already touched on it here, is when do you get paid? How long does it take you to get a payment after issuing an invoice? Now, have your terms and your contracts as low as possible. Our terms are about 7 days. We want that close to zero as possible. And that's going to help you with the cash flow. Also, you can monitor your inventory. So how long does it take you to sell your stock? Well, what you want is to be able to establish predictable patterns so you don't underspend on stock or you don't buy too much stock. So let's say there's a busy period coming up. If you don't have predictable patterns, then how do you know a busy period is coming up? Or how do you know that you've not purchased too much stock for the Christmas period or too little stock for the Christmas period? And that will eat into either your profits or your cash flow. So you can implement your technology to uh, predict how much stock you need at certain specific times in the year. Now, another way, another metric you should have is how often or how long does it take for you to pay your suppliers. Obviously, if you pay too soon, you could run out of cash. If you pay too late, you could get penalties. So you need to keep an eye on that as well. And the last tip to have more cash and cash flow is to get cash injection into your business. And there's different ways you can do this. So the first way, and this again involves just thinking outside the box, is how can you get cash paid up front? How can you pre-sell something? Can you sell one of your products or one of your services with a payment up front? And this is applicable to both physical products and digital products. And you may be thinking, oh, I can't sell my physical product up front, or I can't sell digital product up front. Well, you can, and you need to learn how to, because as a business owner, it's up to you to adapt to your environment and the circumstances. And by selling things up front, you know how much stock you need, and you know how much cash you need to inject into those products, and you know how much money you'll have after selling those things. So they're great things to know. If you're not sure how to do it, literally get this, go into here, Google, boom. I've already done this, so it's going to flag up. Look here, how to sell your digital product, Kajabi, what are pre-orders and how to sell them on Spotify. You've literally, my thing's in the way. You literally got it telling you how to do it. And Kajabi is used to sell services and digitalized courses and things like that. So they want you to be able to do this because they make money from it. And similarly, Spotify, not Spotify, Shopify, they all have similar names. Um, Shopify want you to sell products, so they're advising you how you can pre-sell. And I heard someone mention uh, there's a lady that has a fashion brand, and she only does monthly pre-sales. So she will have a hoodie coming out in on September the 5th, and she will market that product for a month before it's launched. They'll have a set amount. They'll have maybe 2,000 hoodies, and they'll be like £50 each. And every month she sells out within an hour. So if other people are doing it, I'm sure you can do it. Another way to inject cash flow into your business is to liquidate assets. Obviously, if it comes to liquidating assets, it's not a great situation, but you have to do what you have to do. And the proactive business owner would look at assets not using in the business, or assets that'll bring in a lot of money into the company. So I spoke with a construction company owner a few weeks ago, and they told me how they are selling, I think, three of their machines for construction, and that will bring money into the business because they're not going to be building houses for the next few years. Uh, Side note, it's the opposite of injecting cash, but that provides an opportunity for you to be able to buy assets for cheap. Because if someone's selling, and there's a lot of people selling assets, uh, you could potentially buy something for cheap. I spoke with a business owner that was he he owns a recycling plant for rubber. So they purchase car tires and truck tires, and he bought a 400,000 pound machine for 70K. So there is opportunity out there. Anyway, going back to how you can inject cash into your business, you can raise money with investors by giving them equity or exchanging equity for cash. You could also raise debt, so you could get some sort of a loan. The benefit of that is there's no loss in equity. So you have to look at which equity or debt which works for you the best, and you have to weigh up the pros and cons. There's also different methods where some investors might give you debt, a loan, but they also want equity, or they'll be able to convert that debt into equity later on. So it's flexible in how you can raise that cash. I think the main thing is having an open mind and having things on the table and openly discussing what you want. Another way to inject cash into your business is getting grants. So you can get local authority grants, or you can get something from Innovate UK. So let's copy and paste that. Let's go into Google, Innovate UK. And look, there's different innovation um, websites you can go on to, and just check those. And somewhere in here they'll have look, funding for the food sector, uh, life saving for incubators in Ukraine, and they'll have different opportunities here. So you should be checking these out to see what is relevant to you and then apply for it. The next way to inject cash into your business is through taxes, which obviously is what I'm a fan of. So you could either save taxes or you can help taxes. Um, Maybe they can also generate a refund, which can go straight into your bank account. So different taxes that can help are capital allowances, group relief, EIS relief, patent box, and research and development tax relief. Now, let me just talk about research and development tax relief because that's something that we provide, and it's actually quite a quick win solution. Within 60 days, you could help recession-proof your business. We've got a client, they're an agency, and we got them 63K back for just one of their claims, and they can claim every year. And imagine what 63K can do for your business per year. It can be changing. It can change a lot of things. It can put you in a position of power before the recession gets really bad. And that's what you want to be in. You want to be in a position of power. You don't want to be firefighting against a recession. Um, you want to have a plan. You want to be being able to make good, sound decisions whilst in a recession, and not let the recession control you, but you be able to make decisions based on not based on the recession. So this is perfect for companies that create products, processors, software, and machinery. You can recoup up to a third of your costs. So let's say if you put in 100K into creating a product, you could get back 33K. If that sounds like it could be useful to you, just book in a cash injection qualifying call with us today. Below this video, you will see a link to book in a call, and it's just a qualifying call to see if you qualify, so there'll be no hard sell. So those are the 5 ways to have more cash and improve your cash flow. So as a summary, you can increase revenue from existing clients, keep your 18 so they perform well, identify and eliminate bad costs and reinvest into good costs, use best practices, and inject cash into business. So as an action plan, I'd recommend you start planning for the recession using the information in this video. Uh, if you don't claim R&D tax relief, book a cash injection qualifying call now. As I said, the link's below. And actually, if you're already claiming R&D tax relief, we've got a free scorecard which you complete. It's like a quiz you complete, and then you get a bespoke report based on your answers. And if you implement what's in that report, you will maximize your claim whilst reducing the chances of a HMRC inquiry. And I'll put a link to that below as well. So I hope that's useful. If you've got any questions, you can either find me on LinkedIn, just testing, can't actually type it. And the company is GrowthPad. And if you want to email me with any questions or anything that I've covered, Grovepad.co.uk. Right, have a great day. Bye.